Hi, it's Pip here from queenpipcards.com. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. On my channel today we are looking at a pop-up card. So this is one I've made previously with the pretty pine tree punch, and then when you open it up, ta-da! You have your Christmas trees with your Christmas scene behind and a nice sentiment at the bottom. This is from Perfectly Plaid and this is from Free Skate, because I just love that sentiment this year. So I thought I'd show you how to do this. It's similar to my frogs that I did in the earlier part of the year when we had the frogs in, but this time I'm going to do it using the Most Wonderful Time of the Year suite. Okay, so we're going to make it a little bit more zhuzhy, because we're going to be using some of this as our background. So we're not going to do any stamping, we're going to go literally edge to edge with that for our background piece, and then we're going to build up our trees in front. Okay, to get started you're going to need to cut a piece that's the same size as your base, which we know is 14.9 because that's the size we cut it to when we cut our bases. So we're just literally taking a tiny piece off the end of this paper, and then it needs to be 10.5 because that's the width, but I'm going to do it just slightly under 10.5 because I don't want it to hit the lip or the crease in the middle. So just a smidge under. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. So as long as you can't see it and it folds nicely. Okay, so that's the first piece. Then what we're going to do is stick that down, because we want this to have a nice firm base and we want the glue to have gone off, so it's nice and firm when we come to do the mechanism on top of it. The last thing you want to do is to have your base mechanism. We don't want to have any bits moving when we're putting our base mechanism on, so we want to make sure we've got a nice well glued front piece. So remember, you're going to be gluing this to the top inside piece of your card. Okay, so it's not going on the normal side, which is down the bottom. We're putting it up here. Okay, so just make sure that's all in the right edges, not sticking over. Perfect. That's our background. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some offcuts of Whisper White cardstock. Now these offcuts are the pieces that I get when I cut my cardstock up. So I have spoken about these many times before. When I chop my cardstock, my A4 cardstock, I cut it 13.9, 13.9. This is what I get left. Okay, so I have loads of these from all the times when I've cut down my pieces of Whisper White, and they're really good for sentiments and small shapes, and they're perfect for pop-up cards. Okay, so this is what you want to use them for this one. So I want to have these pop-ups slightly different to the ones that I did here. So these ones, I did them so that there was just a tiny difference between let me see if I can show it to you. So this middle one is slightly forward than these ones at the back, but it's not by very much. Okay, so I just want to have just a little bit more of a distinction between those two. So I want something in the foreground and then two things in the background. So we're going to chop all of our pieces down to 10 centimeters. And I'm using 3. You could do 2, you could do 4, it's entirely up to you. It's however many you can fit into the space without them overlapping too badly. Now these are quite chunky, but I need them to be quite chunky because of what I'm putting on them, and they're going to be hidden anyway, so we don't need to worry about it. Right, so that's my 3 pieces. We're going to fold all of them, score all of them at 5, and that's the one thing you need to remember about a pop-up card. When you're doing stuff like this, that's going to go equally across the gully that runs across side to side or down the middle of your card, all of your pieces need to fold exactly in the middle. Okay, I mean there's lots of times when you don't have to have them fold exactly in the middle, but this is not one of them. These need to fold in the centre. Now, once you've got those folded in half and nicely creased, you're going to work out that you want this one to come more forward. So you need a smaller fold here. No, a longer fold here and a smaller fold here. That's what I'm saying. Yes. So you'll fold this one, say, at 1 centimetre. And then the other one needs to be folded equidistant from here. Do you see what I mean? So it's going to have the same fold. So let's do, if that's come in 1 centimetre from one end, it needs to come in 1 centimetre from this end, which would be 4 centimetres from when we first measured it. Do you see what I mean? So we will take one, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 and measure it along here. I haven't explained that very well. I will try that again. It'll make sense when you look at it. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make a box. So it needs to have equal sides and equal ends. So if you've made this end 1 centimetre, you need to make the other end of the box 1 centimetre, but you still need to keep that half fold. So we knew that we folded this in half at 5. So if we come in 1 centimetre from one end, then to get 1 centimetre here, you have to come in 4 centimetres from this end. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. The others are a lot easier. We're just going to literally fold these in half at 2.5. You're like, phew, why didn't you do that first? Why didn't you do the easy ones first? Well, you know, I never do anything easy. I always do it the hard way. I don't know why. It's just the way I am. So it would have probably been easier if I explained it after I'd explained these, making them into boxes. But there you go. That's just Pip. So these ones, as you can see, will form equal squares. Yes, like that. So you've got a nice box that's equal. And then those are my two sides. And then this one is going to be my long and thin one, which is basically just going to move the work forwards. Okay, so that gives it height and depth. It gives it something's coming out this way. If I wanted it to be high and deep, then I'd need to have a bigger piece of cardstock, so that I could have all 4 sides being the same size, but I don't need that, so we're not going to do that. So then the next important thing to note is that when you're sticking them down, and that's what we're going to do next, is you always stick one end down first. And this end, okay, so you glue this piece right down to this crease, and then you fold this flat and glue the outside of this. And then what you do is you close your card up. Now all pop-up cards will be more padded. They're going to be thicker than any other normal card because you are adding that thickness to the inside. So you just have to be prepared for that. Then when you come back out, you have a card that looks like this. Now if you're not quite into the centre of the card, you can get some, it can have some give, so we just need to make sure that we're getting that nice and flat there. There we go. Just as long as it opens freely, you can close it down pretty much flat, you're done. Okay, so then the same on the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember, because most of the time people will have their cards up like that. So then let's do this side. Now I'm going by eye for these. You can measure them if you wish completely. Make sure that you know exactly where they are in from each edge, you know, so that they're perfectly aligned, but I'm just winging it because I've done them enough times now to have a feel for when they look about right. Okay, so then we'll close this one down. And this is a really easy way of just making sure that the glue goes in the right place. And then we just squish, make sure it can go both ways, give it a good burnish, in, out, like that. Lovely. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to put this piece on, but before I put that piece on, I do need to now do my measurements for this, because this is going to be a little trickier. So let's get the other bits done. So we'll put that to one side for a second, because I just need to stamp my trees and then I'll know how big they are, if you know what I mean. So we're using the most wonderful time of the year, and I'm using these two smaller trees here. I mean, I'm using this one smaller tree, and I'm going to do it twice, if that makes sense. I'm going to stamp it twice, so that I end up with two trees. So I need my old olive. So, one. It's a lovely sort of watery, watery Christmas tree. Do you know what I mean? It's not specifically like really well defined. It's got that lovely water brush look. I really like it. Okay, so now I've got my trees. These are going to go on here. So see, this piece of cardstock is the perfect size for these ones, like that. So they're going to go on that side, like there. So we'll just glue those down. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put the glue onto this side, so that just make sure you're not going to go over the edge, and then make sure you go just above the base. Nothing can hang down below, because the last thing you want is for it not to open up properly. Okay, so make sure that stays there like that. If anything, move it slightly higher, because no one's going to see the bottom of that anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's up here that they're going to be looking. So glue to the middle, got a triangle sort of shape, just so that it matches and you don't go over past any of the branches, just on the off chance that you over glue. So there's my two trees now, with those behind. Okay, so now I've got my trees on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a deer in the centre here. Now these deer are on stickers, okay, so they're sticky. That's the first thing you've got to know. The second thing is that their legs are really tiny, so it's quite tricky to actually pop them up onto a small piece of cardstock that you're going to be using. You know, just this piece here, because there's not really much for them to stick to. I mean, you could probably get two hind legs on and that would be about it, or maybe those three. So you can either try and do that, which is entirely, you know, it's possible if you want to just do that, or you can just add an extra piece of Whisper White cardstock across the front and then attach the deer to that. Okay, it's up to you. I'm going to try and go straight for it, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to de-stick my deer. So the way you do that is with an embossing buddy, and all of these deer are designed to be stuck directly onto cards. You know, they're part of a sticker pack that comes with the product Medley kit, most wonderful time of the year, and it's a great kit, and I love the fact that they stick, and I think, you know, that's brilliant. But when you're using them for pop-up cards, the last thing you want them to do is stick. Okay, so I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you're going to make them not stick, and then you're going to add glue back onto them again. And if you're really worried that it is going to stick again, you can add more cardstock behind. But I think they'll be fine. That feels okay now. Just make sure it feels nice and non-sticky. Okay, and this is just an embossing buddy. Embossing buddy that you can get from Stampin' Up, get from me. Oh no, my light's gone off. Oh dear, that's because it's run out of battery. We'll have to cope with it being a little bit darker in this corner for the rest of the video. I'm sorry about that. Ah, rats, I thought I might be cutting it a bit close. Okay, so I'll come a bit more this way. So what we're going to do here is we're going to stick this down first. So we're going to stick this alongside, exactly the same as we did before for the tree elements. Stick this long side down, okay, in the middle, like that, to the centre line, keep it sort of straight, and then fold it in half, and then this time you're just sticking this tiny little piece here, okay, so then that's going to go over, hold that. Ooh, sorry, making you jolt there. And see, now you have a piece that sticks out much further into your card. And then we will very carefully just glue the legs that are going to attach onto here, which is basically the first 3 legs. So very carefully on here, the first 3 legs. Okay, make sure this can go flat again. Pop them down, as I say, not right to the bottom, just try not to get too much coming out, but if you do get any glue coming out, you can just go back in with your embossing buddy, because that sorts that out as well. There we go. And now when you have that on your mantelpiece, you have, let's get it the right way up it, you have a deer with trees in the background. Isn't that cute? Now if you want to, you can add a little one of these beautiful gold stars that they do with the set, either onto one of the trees at the back or onto one of the trees at the front, but they do have sticky backs, so if you add them to the front they have to be quite low down. So I'm going to just pop one just on the back there. Just make sure that it's going to, oh, is that going to hit? No, that's going to miss my deer just about. Make sure it doesn't hit the mechanism, because otherwise it will get, again, more bulky. And that's about as much as you can get away with putting inside a card, because it will make it bulky. So that's the inside, and then obviously I would put a sentiment down here. Right, so very quickly, the most wonderful time of the year stamp set comes with Deck the Halls, Comfort and Joy, Oh Christmas Tree, and Hope You Have a Wonderful Christmas. I'm just going to go with Hope You Have a Wonderful Christmas, because I think that's quite nice, and we don't want anything too major to take away from the actual star of the show, which is the deer really, and the actual pop-up element. So just ink this up, get my head over it so I can see where I'm stamping. There we go. Hope that's going to be straight. Oh, not too bad. Not bad for overhead on camera. Right. So then that's the inside of the card and the pop-up mechanism, and then I'm just going to decorate the outside. And the outside I'm going to decorate with this piece of gold, but you see it's not quite the right size. I'm just going to mat and layer first, and then we'll make that the right size. So I have some real red here, cutting this down to 10 centimeters by 14.4. There we go. And rather than have a sentiment on the front of my card, I thought that I would do this and then have some of this piece here. So I just want to and have a bit more of a display kind of thing going on the front with another tree and another deer. So I just need to measure this and cut this down to the right size. So to make this the right size down, I'm going to bring it in to 9.5. I think that will make me right on that one. It's just a little bit, yeah, it's not quite, because it's in inches, so it's 13.6, so it's not quite 9.5, because it would be 13.9 and 9.5 if we were doing it just as our normal measurements. So if it's 13.6, that's 3mm down. So actually I'm going to make that 9.2. Yeah, 9.2. So let's do that. Then I'm going to pop a Christmas tree on top, but I thought I might do it a bit like this one. So this one, obviously I've got the doily and then the real red punched, then the Christmas tree. So I thought I'd do it similarly to this one and use my Starburst punch. This time making it with the real red cardstock, so that it all coordinates perfectly, obviously. There we go. Pop that on there, and then one of these nice fat Christmas trees to go on top of that. And this time I'm not going to bother taking off any of the glue. Leave that on there like that. We'll just tape that bit of snail sort of in the middle-ish, and that helps to just stick that down. We're going to go flat with this one. So Christmas tree, like so. I love this Starburst punch, it fits so many things, it's great. Okay, and then let's have a look what we've got inside. We've got a stag inside, so I might just put a little doe on the outside. Maybe we'll just do one of these. There we go. Maybe pop her sort of here-ish. There we go. And see, she'll mould down now because I didn't put anybody on her legs, so she will stick all the way down that way, but that's okay, I don't mind that, that looks good. Pop this up. And if you want to, these bits of card are great because you can use them for techniques. You can add sponging to them, so you can sponge them or just put a wash across them, so they're really good for that. There we go. That's that. And then a little starter finish, top of the tree, like so. Add that to the front of your card. Sorry about that, my light just disappeared on me, so I had to go and get another one. Had to go and get another battery. So yes, so that's it. I've just popped him up, put that on top. Could add some tinsel across the bottom if you fancied. That's the ribbon that comes in this beautiful medley. You could pop some of that on there if you fancied, but I just wanted to leave that and let that beautiful gold starry night sort of shine out really. So we have the doe on the outside, and inside we have the stag waiting for her, looking for her. So it's a really simple pop-up card, but it would look really nice on your mantelpiece with all this gold foiling on the back here and this lovely stag standing free. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Come again soon, subscribe, click on the buttons and all that kind of stuff. If you want to buy this medley, you can. You just need to click on the link below. It goes to my store, and you get it's a huge bundle. You get the stamps, you get the dies, you get the papers, you get the ribbon, you get the little starry things, you get papers, stickers, the whole shebang. It's a beautiful set. So only available while stocks last until the end of this catalogue. So if you do want it, then pop on and grab that while you can. Alright, I'll be back again another day with some more pop-ups and with some lots of different things that I've been playing around with for you. So I will see you again soon. Thanks ever so much for watching. You take care now. Bye bye.